Hello everyone and welcome to my 1-year YouTube anniversary video. So I've been doing YouTube for a year. It's the 19th of July and it's a year since I uploaded my very first video, which was the Oak Alcove Cabin build that I did for Rory Plays July 2017 build challenge. So I decided that what I would do is recreate the house. Now I have changed a few little bits and just strayed slightly away from the floor plan, but for the most part it is the same, and of course this gets a nice big garden, and I create a household as well to play in it for the house tour at the end. So this is actually a seasons and base game only build as well, which I'm pretty pleased with. Just placing in some windows now, and I quite like these cute little windows at the top, but it's a shame we didn't have any double kind of smaller windows that we could put in there, but never mind. So in the living room and kitchen we end up with a bit of a green theme, which I think is quite nice. I struggled to find a rug to place under the dining table when I eventually placed that though, but yeah, it's all pretty good, and actually managed to get some greens that match up together for a change, which is unusual for me, because there's a couple of different green tones in the game. There's like this deeper green, and then there's kind of like an olivey yucky coloured green, and I don't like that. I like the bright green and the darker green best in game, but not everything matches. Not everything actually has something that will go together, so it is something I struggle with a little. Now I'm just placing a table, which I will change eventually for a TV table. Now it's actually supposed to be a table and a lamp, but I decided that I'm not going to bother with that, and I'm just going to put a TV, because hey, you need a TV. Now the household that I actually put into this is actually a mum, a dad, a child girl and a toddler girl, and this house is actually a little bit too small for them, but the floor plans show that you need a bedroom at the left and a bedroom at the right, and it's supposed to be it shows 2 single beds in each room. Well, I changed the master bedroom to just a double bed, because of course we need an adult bedroom and a couple don't want 2 single beds. But in the spare room I place in a child's bed and a toddler bed, and of course that means I then needed a child and a toddler, but of course that means that 4 Sims are living in this house with only 1 bathroom, with not really much room to play and put items in to use, so they're going to have to be quite outdoorsy and enjoy the garden, because that does end up being a lot bigger than the house. I'm just currently doing the children's bedroom. Oh, and I changed all the windows to white and black because I think they look a bit nicer with the wood on the walls. Sorry, I just went a bit blank there. Yeah, and I've gone for this real nice, like, cyan blue, is it? Maybe aqua blue in the bedroom with pinks, which I think is quite cool. It's quite a nice tone. It's not too girly, but it's nice. It's got the bright pink in there and what have you. When it comes to the tour, there's not a great deal of time spent in the bathroom. It's a really small room, and it's actually really hard to do a cinematic tour in a small room. I don't know what happened, but sometimes, you know, when you go from one camera position to another, it kind of flips, and I'm not quite sure why it does that. Maybe it's because the length of the clip's too long or something, or it just gets confused with the camera angles, but it kind of does a flip and spins upside down or vice versa, and yeah, it didn't quite work. So you don't really see a lot of the bathroom in the house tour, nor the master bedroom, because that was quite a hard one to record for as well. The best views you get will be of the kitchen and living room and the kids' bedroom and the garden, because I really wanted to show that off. So I haven't overly cluttered this build. I haven't placed in too much. There's a few little extra items, like the items on that corner cabinet and the fruit bowl, and then I place in this umbrella stand as well, and the thermostat. Now I've heard reports that the thermostat actually makes people's bills ridiculously high, and I've not actually used it yet, so I'm quite intrigued about using that in one of my Let's Plays at some point, or just in one of my private saves, to see what happens with that, because I've heard that people have just got ridiculously high bills, like in the thousands, so that would be a bit odd if it is that high. I'm just moving the furniture away from the curtains. I don't like it when furniture clips and what have you. And I struggled to find some pictures for this room. I just kind of ended up going with some kind of architecture drawings. And I really wanted to use that big picture from Seasons, but it just didn't go in that room. So we end up with these two architectural builds instead, and a nice little mirror in the corner. Of course, you need a full-length mirror somewhere in the house, don't you? And of course, we use the Seasons lamps. For the most part, I have actually used Seasons content for this game. And of course, when I played it, I kind of wish I hadn't just made it Seasons and base game, because I was recording the tour and then it got to night time, because of course you need the game playing while you record, and it got to night time, so I sent the kid to bed and everyone else to bed, and then the kid woke up because there was a monster under the bed because I couldn't place the Parenthood nightlight. So you probably want to place that if you do play this house with a child. That's the only thing when you're making a restricted build. I love those pictures on the walls, especially the trees and the doll. I do like those. That's the first time I've really used those in pink and properly used the decals. But yeah, I do like those. I don't keep that height chart there in the end, because I realise I've got nowhere to place a toy box, so I get rid of that. But I like the bunnies kind of hopping over the bed. That's kind of cool. And I love the little elephant and mouse and ladybird pictures. They're really cool. They're so cute. And oh, the Seasons crafting table as well. And a nice little chair, of course, just in case anyone needs a little bedtime story read to them. And I placed in this cloud light, but I'm not actually really sure that I liked it once I went into the tour. So that might need changing as well at some point. And then we're just getting rid of all the cheap lights that I placed in just for building, and trying to find some that match up. And we're on the outside now. I changed this to a much darker tone, which I think looks a lot better. And then of course I realised I hadn't put in the paint around the bricks, around the foundations and what have you. And then we're just painting everything in. Oops, I moved the house walls in and forgot to move the roof. I wanted to put a glass roof. I did try it, but then I decided not to. We will have a greenhouse in the back of the build anyway, in the garden, and then so I decided not to place glass roof on the house. So this time I'd actually do a real fence all the way around, and not just place in the plant kind of long bushes that you get, which makes a change. I don't usually put fences and gates around my builds, but I have in this one. And then I'm just moving the house, trying to get it right. Now this is really annoying. I would really like a 3-tile gate, because I ended up having to put it off to one side because it didn't line up with the front door and it was bugging me, and I didn't like the little single gates that you get. So yeah, I just in the end put it off to one side, and then it doesn't quite look so strange that it doesn't match up with the 3-tile door. But I do love that Seasons door, and I love this gate as well. It matches the pillars and the wall coverings and stuff, although I haven't actually used the stone wall covering in this one. I decided just to go with the wooden one instead. Now you will notice in this video that I have a few bits that I've edited out, There's a few points when I was building the greenhouse that I rearranged. I'd done the terrain paint, and then I needed to rearrange the garden again, and I think I did this like 2 or 3 times. I had to redo all the terrain paint, so what I did was I edited out as much as I could where I kept redoing the same thing over and over so that you weren't kind of bored watching me. Oh, she's moved that wall, so now she's moved everything over and now she's repainting what we've just seen her paint. So I did do that, edit that out a bit. I'm just doing a little bit of the garden as well, and some of the landscaping I do kind of skip over as well, because this video ended up being around 30 to 40 minutes long without being like cut down, and then of course the tour at the end is about 7 minutes. So yeah, I just thought it'd be better if I just kind of, I want to show you the process, but I want to kind of make sure that it's not too long and that people don't just lose interest halfway through. So in the garden, which we are doing now, there'll be a little barbecue area, and then we're going to place in the swings and a climbing frame and a little toddler pool, because of course we've got to have something for the toddlers. And then there will be a nice pond, which I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. And of course there will be a gardening area, because why not, hey, it's seasons is here. And then there will be also a little greenhouse with a flower arranging table and a few pots for if you want some of the seasonal veg or fruit or flowers, whatever you want, because of course you can't grow everything outside now. So yeah, that's why I placed in a greenhouse. It's not a very big one like my Gardener's Haven speed build. That was huge for a greenhouse. This will just be a nice, small, quaint one. The only thing is, what I really wanted to do was just place like a few pillars with some fencing around and a roof on top. But you can't do that. You can't without it having foundations. I really, really, really want us to be able to place a garden shed or something without foundations so that you can choose which part of your building has the foundations. Because I want the house to have foundations, because I like having a porch. I really like having houses with porches. But I wanted the greenhouse on the ground level with no foundation and no steps up to it. But never mind. Yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out. Right, so I'm placing in some path, which will change, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm just... oh, Patchy. I forgot I added him in. But I'm going to double up all these plant pots and mirror it at the other side. And then it all kind of moves along, because there's a tree up in the top corner right now that moves. And that's where the greenhouse will be. And then I realised I kind of really messily placed all this pathing down, and I decided to straighten it up a little and tidy it and make it look a bit nicer. I mean, not too perfect, but yeah, I'd kind of botched that a little bit. Another thing that's weird is when you're placing the terrain paint, when you go diagonally, it just doesn't quite work. It's really weird. It kind of looks all jaggedy. I wish it would place smoothly. I mean, I didn't want to use like proper floor tiles, because I'm not a fan of using those outside. I like the terrain paint. Although this isn't one of my favourite terrain paints that I'm placing down. I think one of my favourites is in one of the other packs that I can't use. But never mind. But yeah, it does place really jagged. It's strange, but never mind. Right, so we are on to the pond, and why do things clip like that to the next foundation up? It's so strange. It took me a while to get things to place in those corners. I actually edited out a bit of me trying to place the tall bush near the foundation, because it just kept jumping up and down and trying to place in the house, or at house level anyway. This ends up being quite cute, quite overgrown and bushy, but a nice pond all the same. I contemplated putting a swimming pool in there instead, but then I decided that it wasn't big enough. and I just place in a pond instead, and I'm just trying to make it look as natural as possible, because of course it's a fountain, as we all know how we make ponds. But I do like placing all the little rocks and plants around. I've also edited out quite a bit of my indecision, because sometimes I'll just try like 50 different things. I'll try nearly every plant until I finally pick the one that I want. And you don't need to see that, so I've edited out quite a bit of that as well. And I'm just currently rearranging the pond, trying to get that fish fountain central. Right, so here I am trying my best to make some kind of sheltered area where they could do flower arranging. And I tried it with a fence and pillars first, and then didn't like it, then realised it's too narrow. So I extended it out and put walls in the end, so that I could put glass windows from, like, you know, the full length windows in. And then I've made it the same colour as the house, but then I'd change my mind and change it to a white, just so it doesn't stand out too much. And then I extend it out again in a second, I believe. I'm just going to move all these around. I rearranged this garden about 3 or 4 times, tweaking the placement of things, because of course you need to make sure that they're all accessible and they're all usable and what have you. But yeah, you don't need to see me rearranging this path about 5 times, but I think you will see it this time. I love the bee boxes. They are really cool. And I did actually play a household in this for a little bit, just to grow a load of plants. And the strange thing is, in spring, I swear the plants used to be greener than what they are. They seem to be quite dull and brownish. I don't know if it's just because it's spring or what. I know they've changed like the colour tones of the plants and things, but I wanted vibrant green plants, and I just figured that if they were well looked after, that they would go like a brighter green, and they didn't. So apologies if my garden looks a little bit dull when you see the house tour, but there's nothing I could do. But I thought it would be quite nice to actually, rather than just showing like an empty lot, empty plant pots, I mean, in the tour, I thought, why don't I actually like get a sim to plant all these full of stuff, and that might look kind of nice. And it works actually. It makes it look so much nicer. And Patchy, that is the in my sim, I made the sim talk to Patchy and what have you, and then wow, he comes to life really quick. Like seriously, he was alive within a few hours, wandering around the house. And I'm not sure if I like it. Because, I mean, it's great. It's awesome. He tended the garden and all sorts. But he was just always around. Like, yeah. I think I like it, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of like on a par with the imaginary friend, which I think was The Sims 3. My memory's terrible. Sorry if that is something obvious I should have known. But I think I'm right. I think it's The Sims 3. The imaginary friend was a little bit strange, and Patchy's kind of along that line. It's like drawing a line of, I'm not sure if I like you, but I do, but I don't. Right, so I'm currently doing creating the side garden, and I love this elephant, and he does get placed. Now, and so do these llamas. I think it's so cute to make them look like they're kissing. So that's my little touch on this garden. I had to place those in. But the elephant, actually, I've done this once before in my luxury diamond build, I think I called it, where his foot is just resting on the edge of the bench, and I just think it's so quirky and cute. You may not like it, but I think it's cute, so that's what I did. I'm just placing loads of plants because this is a gardener's home and they love plants, and of course a gardener's going to have a big garden. Thankfully they don't have to tend to all these ones, and they just take care of themselves, because my word, your sim would never even get time to sleep or eat or anything else. Now, I don't actually know what this house is worth because I forgot to have a look, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite expensive. So if you do need to, you just have to, if you download it, because this will be on the Sims 4 gallery under the name My Inner Sim to download if you want. But yeah, you'll just have to put free real estate on. And then you'll be able to place any sim in it. But I dread to think what the bills will be with all this landscaping. But never mind. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, this will be on the Sims 4 gallery. This video is for my 1 year YouTube anniversary. I'm so pleased. I'm so grateful to everyone that's subscribed and to everyone that watches my videos and comments and likes them and shares them. It means the world to me that you all just, I don't know, it's just, I can't speak. I'm useless with meaningful things like this, but I just really am so grateful for all the support that I've had, and I look forward to more videos that I create and people enjoying them and everything else. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, and I can't believe it's been a year. And the reason I recreated this video was because I wanted to show the difference between my first video and how I've progressed, and I wanted to see it for myself as well, because there's a huge difference not only in my building skills but also in my confidence, because that was something I struggled with quite a lot. And when it comes to creating these videos, it doesn't feel as much of an issue. It does in real life social situations, don't get me wrong, but when I'm creating these videos, I've gained so much confidence, and it's great. It just feels amazing. Right, in a moment we're going to be going to the house tour, so I'm going to stop waffling on and I'm going to leave you here. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, please subscribe if you want to be notified of new videos. Please leave a comment. All comments are welcome and I always reply as soon as I can. And I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.